Here are three reasons why I'm still buying Harmony's native token called ONE. Reason number one is because I like its room for growth. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, people may not be liking the fact that a bunch of altcoins as of right now are having a pullback, but the way I view it is that the lower something is, hypothetically, the more room it has to grow. Because imagine if ONE were to go to the price of $1. That right there would be nearly 70x from here. Now, imagine if, let's say, I were to put $1,000 into ONE as of right now, and let's say again it were to go to the price of $1, around a 70x from here. At that point, that $1,000 would hypothetically be worth nearly 70 grand. Now, again, I'm not telling anyone to buy one or anything like that, but the way you take a look at it is that this is pretty impressive in my opinion. Now, not to mention as well, if ONE were to go to the price of $1, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $14.5 billion. So it's not even too bad anyways, right? We've seen like Shiba Inu reach around 40 billion. We've seen Dogecoin reach over 80 billion. Now, of course, this was back in 2021, but I'm just saying, this isn't like too crazy. I'm not saying that ONE is going to have these, crazy record-breaking figures or something like that. I'm not saying that. Again, just achieving like a glimpse of maybe a Shiba Inu's all-time high market cap or even a Doge, it doesn't seem too ridiculous in my perspective. Now, people may be thinking that, oh yeah, ONE is terrible because it's on a 1000x and all this. Well, again, it's not a microcap. But the way you take a look at it is that I'm not even looking for microcap anyways. Like for me, a microcap could do hypothetically the best, but I just don't want to do that because that's a little bit too much risk. You know what I mean? Sure, the hypothetical upside could be fantastic, but that's a little bit too much for my appetite. But at the same time, I don't want to get into it like a dinosaur. I don't want to get into like a BNB, for instance, where it can't do even over a 10x from where it is as of right now within the next 6 to 10 months. Yeah, I don't want that. So what is a good balance in between for me? Something like ONE. It's pretty well established, good exchange listings, pretty impressive, but then it's not a microcap, but then it's not a dinosaur. It's a good balance for me, and I do really love that. Now, not to mention as well, people may be thinking that, oh yeah, why would ONE ever go to the price of $1? The fundamentals are terrible and all this type of stuff. Well, I'm going to have to disagree with that because this actually brings me to my second reason as to why I'm still buying ONE, and it's because I like Harmony. I love its fundamentals. Keep in mind, Harmony is an open blockchain network, and it's even been stated how Harmony's mainnet can run Ethereum applications while at the same time maintaining lower fees and having faster transaction speeds. Now, not to mention as well, the Harmony platform also offers cross-chain bridges, which allows users to transfer crypto assets across multiple blockchains, such as, for instance, the BNB Smart Chain. You take a look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, and much more. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting in my opinion. Pretty cool. Now, here's where things get a little bit more cooking because when you take a look at Harmony, it does utilize something called sharding technology. Now, people may be thinking, okay, who cares about sharding and all this type of stuff? Well, I do care about that. And here's why, right? It's because when you take a look at it, through sharding, the network is split into multiple sections known as shards. And workload on the network, they are distributed amongst these different shards. And as a result of that, something like Harmony does become very scalable and just overall very awesome. So yeah, I do really love that aspect. Now, not to mention, we also take a look at how when it comes to Harmony, it does use a consensus mechanism called EPOS. Now, you may be thinking, okay, what is EPOS? EPOS is effective proof of stake. That's what it stands for. And it's actually very similar to the proof of stake model, aka the POS model, right? Again, proof of stake. Now, people may be thinking that, okay, why does proof of stake need any more fixing? Why does there need to be something like EPOS? Because here's the difference here, and I think that is actually very fantastic because while most POS systems, they reward validators for staking more tokens, the thing about EPOS is that it actually penalizes validators who stake too much on a single node. The reason being is because this is done to encourage decentralization. Now, again, people may be thinking, okay, who cares about this? It's because usually when projects become very big, typically they can become susceptible to potential hacks and attacks. The reason being is because some people may try to target those type of, big projects for whatever reason. Now, not to mention, if let's say it's not even focused on anyways, the amazing thing about it is that if something is more decentralized, again, it's less susceptible to hacks and attacks, potentially, right? So this is a good touch. Keep in mind, logically speaking, why is this amazing? Because if let's say I hid my treasure in 100 different locations, is it better if I did that or if I put all my, treasure in one location? Now, if I only put in one location and it gets breached for whatever reason, that's really bad. However, if it's like 100, if let's say 1 or 2 or even like 10 or 20 gets breached, it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's still a lot left. So the way you take a look at it is that EPOS is actually very amazing. It's a little bit, different. I get it, but it's actually very fantastic in my opinion. Now, also not to mention, when I take a look at something like Harmony, what I do really love about it is that when it comes to one, it's listed in some pretty decent exchanges. Again, like I mentioned earlier on the video, good exposure, and the community is very passionate. And I do really like that. So the way you take a look at it is that Harmony is this very amazing project. It's very simple and easy to understand. It's not that complicated. And I do really like that. Now, again, the third and final reason why I'm still buying one is because, as the old saying goes, a high tide raises all ships. What I mean by that is, if let's say the crypto space does very well, I think something like one will go along with the ride. And I just don't see why it wouldn't be the case. There's over 600 million crypto owners as of right now, according to Crypto.com research. You take a look at the number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF. Now, all of this as of right now may be a little bit, difficult to process because people are like, okay, again, the price is going down. But again, a breather is necessary sometimes, in my opinion. It's like, for instance, when someone is running a marathon, let's say 10 miles, right? Are they going to be sprinting throughout the 10 miles? Like, I don't think so. Like, I don't even know if that's even possible. Like, maybe they're running a good pace, but I don't think they're sprinting full out, for the whole 10 miles. And along the way, I think there's going to be times where they may rest, or like maybe they may take a little bit of a breather, right? I'm not necessarily saying they're going to completely stop or something like that, but then sometimes they may reduce their pace to maintain their stamina. I just don't see why it would be any different, because when you take a look at it, for instance, right? When things are usually going up, there's going to be some breathing room, right? There's going to be pullbacks, for instance. It's not going to be the straight shot up. Take a look at Bitcoin. At one point, it was at the price of $1. Did it go all the way to like over 100,000 without any pullbacks? No, that wasn't the case whatsoever. Multiple pullbacks along the way, but if you take a look at the general direction, it has been upwards. And again, when it comes to this space, the way you take a look at it is that it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, which is why I'm still accumulating, holding, and just waiting. Anytime an income, I'm doing that. And when it comes to one, reaching the price of $1, I really don't see why not. And again, the name is one, right? It would only be logical if it went to the price of $1. And I'm just kidding, but I'm just saying, kind of the name just kind of, however, again, the name just kind of rhymes. You know what I mean? But even besides that, we do know that usually, as a worst case scenario, altcoins, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. And the last Bitcoin halving event actually happened back in April of last year. So 18 months from then would actually mean around October this year. So when you think about it, there's still some time there, which is why I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. The way you take a look at it is that the race is far from over. And even though history isn't always going to repeat itself, I think this, if anything, is a good benchmark. And I think it showcases that, the marathon is still far from over, and I'm not giving up. And again, one at the price of $1 during this bull run wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And that right there are 3 reasons why I'm still buying one. And make sure to subscribe if you gained value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.